Okay, every time you look at an impulse, understand that that typically signifies the conclusion of a corrective pattern. Every corrective pattern, be it an ABC, a WXY, an ABC, or a WXYXZ, every single one ends in an impulsive move. A, B, C is always impulsive. W, X, Y is always impulsive. W, X, Y, X, Z is always impulsive. I hope you get my drift. So this should signify, in theory, the end of this W, X, Y. Sorry, let's count that again. W, X, Y, X, Z. This triple three, okay? It should signify the end. Hello everyone, my name is Dean and let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily, almost daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is August 10th, 2024. And we're going to talk about why this Bitcoin bounce is for real, why this crypto bounce is for real. And I'm going to show you on the charts why I believe that is. We're also going to talk about why Warren Buffett is selling, okay? So I don't typically talk about this. From time to time, I'll mention it, but we're going to have a quick look at the stock market using the SPX as a proxy for the stock market. I'm going to show you why Warren Buffett is selling, and if you're in the stock market, you should too, not financial advice, but why crypto is rising. If all that sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. We're going to start with Bitcoin as per usual. Okay, I want to show something to everyone that few people are talking about. I haven't seen anybody talk about this. Okay, look at this. Okay, this has been my count on Bitcoin. If you've been following my work, this has been my count on Bitcoin for quite some time. Okay, ever since the beginning of 2023, we've been in impulse. Bitcoin has actually been in a very clear uptrend, and you can see that uptrend right here. Okay, that is the beginning of 2023, almost exactly the beginning of 2023. Got your one wave up, your 5 waves up, 3 waves down, right? That's your quintessential impulse, right? That's wave 1, 2. This is wave 3, wave 4. Okay, wave 4 is a flat correction, takes a while, it's complex, that's typical, and it leads into a wave 5. Now, interestingly enough, I've said this before, this is not a typical wave 5. This is not a wave 5 that just corrects upon the aforementioned wave 1 through 4. No. What you're looking at is what we call in Elliott wave analysis a leading diagonal. Okay, this is what we call a leading diagonal, and this is what we call an extended wave 5. So this wave 5 is not even close to done yet. It's extended, and actually, I've said this for quite some time. What you should expect is for this wave 5 to go as far up as the larger resistance here. You can't see it on this chart. Let's just switch charts really quickly. I'm going to show you this because this is important. I think it's always good to have a really high time frame schema, a high time frame understanding of what's happening in your mind. Okay, this wave 5, I don't expect it to end up and until we reach this point where that will represent really staunch resistance, and I'm talking about the staunchest of resistances that we've never broken in Bitcoin's decade plus long history. As you can see here, you have this resistance right here that Bitcoin has been respecting for ever. Okay, since its inception, it's never broken that resistance. Okay, and that's a mathematical form. For some reason, the shape is escaping me right now, but you can clearly see it on the chart, right? In addition to that, you have this channel, right? This blue channel that Bitcoin has been in since 2013 thereabouts, and you're about to hit this shape that Bitcoin's been in for some reason, which I can't remember the name of. Also, the top of which also coincides with the midsection of this long-standing, about decade-long channel that Bitcoin's been in, right? Those are real resistances, 10 plus year resistances that Bitcoin's going to hit. And that's what I believe is the end of the bull market for Bitcoin, this particular bull market that we're in, okay? And so when we're looking at, let's go back now to the previous chart, okay? When we're talking about this being a leading diagonal, right? This being our, and why is it a leading diagonal? I kind of, I'm assuming people know. A leading diagonal is characterized by wave 1 and wave 3 being the same size. Typically in a regular Elliott wave 5 impulse, wave 3 is always significantly longer than wave 1, okay? In a typical wave 5 Elliott wave impulse, okay? Wave 3 will be about 1.618 to 2 times the size of wave 1. But when you have wave 3 being about the same size or slightly larger than wave 1, you can expect an extended wave 5, and that's what you typically get in these leading diagonal in these leading diagonal situations. So I think that what we have here is the beginning of wave 5. Since 2023, you have the beginning of wave 5 in Bitcoin, and what supports this theory is the following. Look at the time we've spent going up in Bitcoin since it's gone impulsive. Since the beginning of 2023, you can see, or sorry, the beginning of, sorry, what am I saying? The beginning of 2024, right? The end of 2023, beginning of 2024, you can see you've got this impulse right here. It's taken about 150 some odd days. The time we've spent from the top right here, all-time high, and consolidating sideways and now going down has been also about 150 days. And what do you know about Elliott waves? Wave 1 and 2 are typically characterized by a 1-to-1 time measurement, okay? Wave 1 is 5 waves up, wave 2 is 3 waves down. But what they have in common in typically, in typical fashion, if you look at an Elliott wave progression, is that the time it takes for wave 1 is approximately the same time taken for wave 2. In that case, if you look at this once more, you see 150 days up, 150 days down. Now, it begs the question, is this a legitimate wave 2, right? Because we tend to, characterize generalized wave 2. Let's draw wave 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then wave 2 tends to look like a 3-wave move. Yes, in the textbooks it does, and a lot of times on charts it does as well. And it comes down between 0.382 to 0.618, typically coming down to between 0.5 and 0.618 of the preceding wave 1. Okay, but the minimum retracement of wave 2 is 0.382. So what you can do here is take your Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom to the top of our purported wave 5, which would be a wave 1 of the extension. I hope people aren't too confused. I know this can get a little wonky and in the weeds, but there are so many primers on Elliott wave theory. If you're watching this channel, you're probably familiar with what I'm speaking about. Go ahead and spend 10-15 minutes just priming yourself on wave 1, wave 2, and Fibonacci retracement levels, and everything that I'm saying should make sense. In any case, if you look here, you can see this wave 5 extension. This would be wave 1 of the wave 5 extension. This would be wave 2 of the wave 5 extension. And you typically do get sharp wave 2 retracements, but not always, which is why if you read the textbooks, the minimum retracement for wave 2 is the 0.382 Fibonacci retracement level. The maximum level of retracement for wave 2 is 0.618. So what did we do? We put in a minimum wave 2 retracement, just kissing the 0.382 at 50K, okay? In addition to not putting in a sharp retracement, it was kind of sharp at the end, but essentially we look like we put in a WXYXZ, a triple three, okay? A triple three, okay? So it looks like a complex correction that hit the minimum retracement for wave 2, and the time factor for wave 1 and wave 2 are equivalent. That tells me it's highly likely that wave 5, this wave 5 extension, right, going up, has been corrected on the downside, and now we're ready to go up from there, okay? Furthermore, I want to go even more, sort of zoom in a little bit as to why I believe this bounce is true, and we can expect more upside from Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market, right? I'm going to show you something that I don't know that many people are talking about. Okay, if you go on the daily time frame and you look at this bounce, okay, now let's erase this. Let's clean up our chart. Look at this bounce. What do you see? Well, ever since we hit that 50K mark, right? Which also is, be very aware of the fact that that 50K mark is a solid base. It's a solid support level that we've been holding since the beginning of this uptrend in 2023. As you can see, you can channel Bitcoin's price action since 2023, and this channel has always served as the support for more than a year, okay, way more than a year, almost 2 years. Started here, every single time we hit this support of this uptrending channel, we bounce, okay? We bounced once, twice, 3 times. This would be the 4th time. What's peculiar about this move is that you would have thought that we would have left the bounds or the confines of this channel here. Once we retested the midline, you leave, you retest the top, you go. So this was really tricky, coming all the way back down to the bottom of the channel. Really tricky, but it happened. And this is why there's no 100%, this is definitely going to happen. It's just, there's so many permutations, combinations, there's so many probabilities and possibilities that you just have to read what's in front of you, make a best educated guess. So having come all the way back down to the support level of this uptrending diagonal channel that Bitcoin's been in for almost 2 years, it looks as if we're bouncing hard off of it. Furthermore, in context of this channel, you can see that you're passing the midline. Remember, the midline is a thing. Every channel has 3 main aspects: the support, the top resistance, and the midline, which is support when you're above it, resistance when you're below it. Right here, what we did was, on the bounce, if you can see, we've already cleared the midline. The midline was resistance because we were below it, but for 1-2 days, and the 3rd day we cleared it. Now we're retesting the midline as support, and that should yield a further move up. Why also am I confident that this is a real bounce on behalf of Bitcoin's price action. It's because if I take my Fibonacci retracement tool from the top to the bottom of this big drop, a huge, massive drop that we got from the 29th of July all the way down to the 5th of August, right? It's like really, really strong impulse to the downside. Impulses usually denote the capitulation of a move, okay? Every time you look at an impulse, understand that that typically signifies the conclusion of a corrective pattern. Every corrective pattern, be it an ABC, a WXY, an ABC, or a WXYXZ, every single one ends in an impulsive move. A, B, C is always impulsive. W, X, Y is always impulsive. W, X, Y, X, Z is always impulsive. I hope you get my drift. So this should signify, in theory, the end of this W, X, Y. Sorry, let's count that again. W, X, Y, X, Z. This triple three, okay? It should signify the end. The other reason is that you're breaking the phi ratio. So this is very important. The 0.618 or phi ratio is well known to many traders, to many people in many disciplines. It's a very important level, and it typically serves as it's resistance if you're below it, it's support when you're above it, right? So when you look at this big impulse from July 29th to August 5th, and you see that the bounce has thus far not just broken the 0.618, but it's bull flagging at the 0.618, it's very likely to continue from that level. This is not 100%, but it's a strong indication that we will continue up. Okay, the next indication that this bounce is true is if and when you break the origin point. So this is the origin of the impulse down. If and when you hit that again and breach it, that's the next and maybe final. It's not final, but it's another sort of very strong indication that this entire thing is finished, and that was the conclusion of it, and you're looking for higher. Now, how much higher? This is what everybody wants to know. Price targets, price targets, price targets, and I'm going to give you that. So, guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee at the pinned comment below. For targets, let's go on the weekly time frame, and this is very simple. I'm expecting, if this is a true bounce, Bitcoin to double in the near future, and I'm going to tell you why. So for the past many weeks, right, specifically since March of 2024, we've been in this corrective pattern, right? 150 or so some odd days, as I counted before, right? And that has created some sort of resistance at the all-time high level, okay? Because this resistance is so pronounced and it's been in place for so long, it's very unlikely that we do not retest it. So any move above it must likely come back to retest it. So if we were to move up and through all-time high, I would expect a checkback or retracement coming back to this level, retesting old resistance as support before moving on, which means that if this is the bottom of the move, how do you determine the top of the move? You take a Fibonacci retracement level and you see where a retracement would give you a phi ratio of 0.618. It doesn't mean it has to come down to the 0.618. It's just likely that it comes down to the 0.618 because that is the maximum retracement for any impulsive move. You can't go 0.786 because that's not impulsive. And we've already shown that Bitcoin has been impulsive ever since the beginning of 2024, end of 2023, beginning of 2024. In that time, prove it to yourselves, go on the charts. You will never find any retracement beyond the 0.618. Not here, That retracement respected the 0618. This retracement, flat correction, respected the 0618 of the preceding impulse. This retracement clearly respected the 0618 of the preceding impulse. So that should continue. That's one of the definitions of what it means to be in impulsive mode. So I'm expecting at most, okay, this is not definitely, right? This is at most, Bitcoin going to 120,000, given this bottom, given the need to retest the previous resistance at all-time high. So that's where I'm seeing Bitcoin. I'm seeing Bitcoin doubling, right? Now, at the same time, and I'm going to give a nod to altcoins here. At the same time, while Bitcoin is doubling, I'm expecting a lot of altcoins to 5-6x. Yes. And this is in the near future. 5-6x. Let's look at Chainlink, for instance, okay? Chainlink. So Chainlink is doing something I thought it would do, but it took a lot longer than I thought it would. So I actually thought maybe I was wrong, okay? For a long time, if you're into Chainlink, if you've watched my work, you know I've talked about this. I said we created a very clear resistance at the top of this consolidation, right? This was our bear market consolidation. After a drawdown, you recollect, you reaccumulate buyers. And then after you do that, you mark up again, okay? So I was like, this is easy. This is the easiest trade I've ever seen because this resistance has to be retested as support. There's no way it doesn't do that. It just took a lot longer than I thought it would, but it happened. Do you see? Marked up, came right back, retested. That's the principle I just discussed in Bitcoin. You come back to retest previous resistance as new support. It happened. Now, this is free. Chainlink is free to move on. With this bounce, it can go and create new all-time highs, no problem. If you zoom out, what do you see for Chainlink? Well, on the weekly time frame, you pretty much go into price discovery, okay? And so it shouldn't be that shocking that something like Chainlink could do a 5-6x from here. Now, it's not super clear because you're in price discovery with Chainlink, but let's say that it went to some distance, right? Let's say it went some distance whereby it would have to come back. It was likely to come back and retest this level as support. Maybe, maybe it happened like that, right? So you would get some nice progression like this into higher levels. Well, that would mean your first resistance for Chainlink is going to be at $22.76. That's a 100% move. Your next major resistance is going to be at $120, which from here is about a 12x, okay? Now, I'm not saying Chainlink's going to definitely 12x in the same amount of time that Bitcoin's going to 2x, but I'm just giving probabilities whereby you can understand how high some of these altcoins can go in a short amount of time. Let me give one more example of a lower cap altcoin, something that I'm trading. We did Balancer last time. Let's do DYDX, okay? ETH DYDX, that's what I'm trading right now. And you can see that my target for ETH DYDX is up here, okay, around $7.17. This is really distressed. You've never been at these levels. This is the lowest it's ever been, ever in the history of the asset. That is always a great time to buy, okay? Now, if indeed you're going to move from here, the next likely target is going to be the top of the range. And if I'm looking at a range, you can see by this dashed line, I'm looking at this as being our range resistance, okay? Since June of 22, you've been in this consolidation, this accumulation of sorts. And if you hit the top of the range, which I think the next move does, it's going to be up here somewhere, which is coincident with the 0.618 of this declension, right? The phi ratio of this drop. You come back and then you check a retest of the midline of this multi-year accumulation. So that's basically what I'm looking at. A big move to the top of the range, coming back to the midline, because the midline is always important. People don't talk about the midline much. Midlines of channels are very important, almost as much as the top and the bottom of channels. And so from where we're at, that move from $2.45 to $7.17 shows the 6x that I'm talking about. Prove it to yourselves. Go through your watch lists. Look at different altcoins. You'll see 5 to 6x, 5 to 6x, 5 to 6x move with a high degree of probability if you're looking at what's likely to happen before retracement, okay? Because here you don't see much of anything in the way. You just went up, or you went down, 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 down. That's an imbalance. It's pretty much nothing but red candles. You balance that out with nothing but green candles. Then you retest the midline, and then you continue. Do you see what I mean? Charts like balance. This is imbalanced. You rebalance it with a similar move up. That's, except for red, all green. So that's pretty much where I'm seeing altcoins. So I'm very excited for altcoins in the immediate short term to give 5 to 6x moves right after really treacherous and nasty work for a long period of time. I mean, just looking at this chart, like I said, DYDX has never been lower, and you've been in consolidation sideways and down for 819 days. So, I mean, if you've been in crypto, if you've been into altcoins, you've probably been at a loss and have probably been pulling your hair out for the past 3 to 4 years. It's been really, really rough, to say the least. 819 days, let's see. 2 years, 2.5 years, 2.5 years. Okay, now, I started this video saying I was going to talk about why Bitcoin's bounce was likely true, why crypto's bounce was likely true. We covered that. We talked about Bitcoin, why I think 120K is the next likely target, why I think, I can also talk about why, or when I think that will happen, but let's leave that to the side for now. I don't want to make this video too long. Let's just keep it at, I think it's going to happen in the immediate short term, okay? Probably a week and a half, 2 weeks max. I will also want to talk about why Warren Buffett is selling. Okay, well, what does Warren Buffett has anything to do with anything? Okay, there's a lot of analysts in crypto that use the traditional financial markets as an analog to, give thoughts on what Bitcoin's likely to do. Okay, and this is the S&P 500. Okay, and this is an index fund. I have spoken about this. You can see the chart is annotated. I don't talk about it much because I'm not trading this at all. But I want you to, technical analysis is technical analysis. You should be able to pull up any chart of any freely traded asset or a reflection of that, which is an index is, and you should be able to see the same patterns. Same stuff applies, same principles apply. Looking at this chart, you don't have to be a savant. You don't have to be, Ralph Nelson Elliott himself to see this is at resistance. This is why Warren Buffett is selling. Just look at this chart without comment. I'm going to give some comment, but just look at this chart. Take a second to look at this chart. Would you be selling here? Would you be buying here? Who in their right mind would be buying this chart? Warren Buffett is not an idiot, and he's not even a technical analyst. He doesn't like technical analysis, but I'm absolutely sure he has somebody telling him, look at this fucking chart. Bro, I'm not asking you to, take the, pull some fibs on it. Just look at this fucking chart. And he's like, yeah, I get you. Let's sell. Okay, we're looking at an uptrend. Okay, this is a really strong uptrend, something that's been in effect since March of 2022, or sorry, March of 2010, right? You can see on this chart, this is a weekly chart. You've been in an uptrend with the S&P for about 5,300 days. Okay, when people are like, "Oh, what are you still doing in crypto? I heard that sucked. I heard you were losing money in crypto. I heard it's too volatile. What are you wasting your time on crypto with? You should just buy stocks." I did well in stocks. Okay, they have a point, because for the past 14 years, stocks have been going up pretty much uninterrupted. This S&P 500 index is a great example of this. Now, I want you to look, and it can still continue, but you have intermittent rejections. But the real rejection is going to be extra nasty. When this comes to a proper rejection, oh my goodness, people do not want to be around. People are going to lose their minds, because understand what markets do. For 14 years, people are only used to one thing. Why do we do technical analysis? Why do we do this charting stuff? And why do I think before you invest a dime in any market, you should learn to read the markets to some degree? Is because if you're just doing it on blind faith, what if you get in right before that move? You're done. You're absolutely done. And a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, well, it's been the same thing for 10 to 14 years. Why should it ever change? 10 to 14 years, I've just done this. I know what I'm doing." And they think they know what they're doing. But if you look at this chart, you have to be super cautious. And Warren Buffett selling should tell everybody everything they need to know. This guy wins a lot. So whether he has the best analysts on his team, whether, he's cheating, whatever it is, the fact that he's selling, you should also sell if you're in the traditional markets. We just looked at crypto, why crypto has paid its penance. Crypto's been down and out for so long, and it's looking like it's about to go on an uptrend, whereas stocks may dilly-dally up here at this 14-year resistance. You may get some all-time highs. Don't be surprised if stocks make all-time highs and even bear trap even more people into buying more. People are like that. But ever since I started looking at this in 2022, I saw a 1, 2, 3 wave move, a corrective pattern brewing. We're right now in what we call a sucker's rally. This is a quintessential, I'm going to zoom in for a second. This blue, and we can adjust it, because look, I promise you I haven't touched this in years. I'm touching it for the first time right now. Essentially, this move up, I've put in the chart already. And even at the bottom of this wave, I wouldn't buy my stocks, because you're in what we call a sucker's rally. You're up against it. This was your initial break of structure right here. And the fact that you pivoted like this tells you everything about that. You can't be impulsive, because once again, you've broken the 0618 of this initial move. So you know that you're getting a 1, 2, 3 corrective pattern, which will indefinitely retrace 100+% on itself. It could go a lot further down, but that's like a minimum retracement right here. This pink, this pink corrective wave. So all I'm saying is you're at 14-year resistance. Warren Buffett is seeing 14-year resistance. This is why he's selling. This is why you should be selling. Not financial advice, but if you're in stocks, be super careful, because you're at resistance. You may get all-time highs, but if you're not paying attention to look at your actual charts, you will think those all-time highs are a result of super impulsive price action, really strong impulsive price action, but they're just corrections at the top, or what we call in Wyckoff analysis, distributive patterns. This is what we have, a distribution where you go up and down, up and down, up and down, you dilly-dally, and then you nuke. Okay, so be very careful with stocks. I don't know that I have to say much more about this than that. If you have eyes to see, I think it's quite clear. This is not complicated analysis in no way, shape, or form. The best case scenario in the S&P is if we get a shallow retracement like this that I have on screen. Worst case scenario is we do something like this, a really nasty correction upon the 14-year uptrend, right? But the best case scenario is that we do a shallow retracement, right, all the way down to the 2022 summer lows, and then from there continue this uptrend against that 14-year resistance. But it's untenable. It's not sustainable. You're at that's not a healthy uptrend, being at resistance all the time. That's not healthy at all. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to look at, and I know the video is already quite long, but we don't have that many videos these days, so why not make them a little longer than usual from time to time, is I wanted to show you Bitcoin dominance, but we've talked about Bitcoin dominance before. I wanted to show you the US dollar currency index. Okay, because all of this actually is based off of the USDXY. Okay, the USDXY, if you don't know, is a measure of the US dollar strength, right, pegged against a basket of world reserve currencies. Okay, let me find out where that is. I think I put it in here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, US dollar currency index. So if you know anything about the US dollar currency index, not only do you know that it's something that people look at to determine whether markets are risk on or risk off. So typically, if the dollar is strong, markets are risk off, meaning, you rather put your investment, you put your money into dollars. You buy dollars because the dollar is strong, the dollar is high. Okay, when the dollar is weak and going down, you want to go risk on. You want to go into speculative plays like crypto, like stocks and other things, right? And so a weaker dollar means basically you can buy more of other things, right? You can buy more crypto, you can buy more stocks. A stronger dollar, you tend to buy less. Did I say that right? Well, they're inversely proportionate. So usually when the dollar goes down, crypto goes up, Bitcoin goes up, stocks go up. So yes, I did say that right. Where we're at now is this. For quite some time, you've seen the dollar go up, come down, and then hover in this B wave right here. I've got it characterized as a B wave. And again, I've had this in for years. Okay? What we're likely going to get, if indeed the S&P is true, or the chart of the S&P is true and it's going to go down, it's going to be coincident with this going down. The US dollar is going to lose relative strength. And that will make it so that, at that time, what you should expect is what I just said in the SPX. SPX is making all-time highs. It's not going to go far because it's against that 14-year resistance. It's just going to hover up there. It's going to make small moves, kind of hovering. Kind of like when you throw something in the air and it, at a certain, during a certain brief period of time, it's stable. It's not falling, it's not rising. That's what the SPX is going to do while this comes down. Meanwhile, Bitcoin and crypto is going to blast off. That's my prediction based off of what I'm seeing in the charts. So if that's true, do expect a weakening in the dollar. So gold, I think gold's going to take off. I haven't looked at the gold chart, so don't hold me to that. But risk on assets are going to go up. Crypto, gold, stocks, SPX is kind of up there already, but it's going to hover a little higher. And then finally, when this comes down, hits support and bounces, that's when stocks nuke and Bitcoin, after it hits some all-time highs, starts correcting. But it'll be in a different trend, and altcoins will also be in a different trend than Bitcoin at that time. I know this is a lot. Um very, I had a lot of plans for this video. I don't know if I executed, but I had some ideas that I wanted to share. Um, and I hope I was able to convey that. Guys, once again, if you got value, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee at the link below in the comment that's tagged or pinned in right below the video. And I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody does well in these markets. If you've been in crypto, which most of my viewers have been in, things will change for us. Trust that. It is here. Thank you and goodbye.